G'day everyone, Gavin Top here. I'm with Matt Hess, an absolute champion, works in the mining industry over in WA. Mate, thanks for jumping on today.
That's all right, Gav.
And mate, can I ask you, what was life like prior to the Man Alive mentorship?
Oh, look, it was okay. Like, it was just cruising along. Everything was fine. Yeah, I mean, I've done a few sort of courses here and there, but this just, I don't know, came along at the right time, shall we say?
Yeah, and I suppose, what did you see? Because if things are okay, what did you see or hear, or with our content, or hear me say out of the book? What got you to kind of jump on a call?
There was something in a post that you'd put on Facebook. And it was something along the lines of, there's something you can't put your finger on, but you need to, get on and get it done to build yourself into becoming a better version of yourself. Yeah. I think that's what I resonated with at the time.
Yeah.
So, look, I'd been, like eating right, hadn't been drinking for a couple of years. Going to the gym, doing all that, good stuff. This was kind of like the next level. So
yeah, and because a lot of people would look at you and go, "Man, you're doing great. You're fit, you're healthy. You got a great job. You're doing what you want, and things are okay. And we know that okay is not good enough. You got to be a man alive. So
that's it. That's it.
Because you've only been started at the back end of last year. You're like, I don't know, roughly around 90 days in. What's been, I suppose, a couple of highlights so far?
I remember when I first spoke to you, Gavin. I think you did an interview, and I almost had like a heart attack. I'm like, oh, I can't afford that. Yeah. And I think for the first month, I was waking up in the middle of the night going, how am I going to pay for this? Yeah. This is insane. Yeah. This is crazy. And do you know what? I reckon by 30 days down the track, I'm like that's the best money I've ever spent. Like, I can't believe it. But a lot of people probably resonate with that. And, talking to a few of the guys, they're all in exactly the same boat. They're like, like first it becomes, absolute fear. And then they're like, well, how come I didn't do this 10 years ago or 20 years ago? So.
And I suppose that's what everyone buyer's remorse. But it maybe some people say, but it's actually, I actually believe it's a level or two deeper than that. It's like you're presented with, you can become whatever you want. These are the, why
and you can't sort of put a value on that. And I think, when you, like all of us come into it and sort of go, well, like, oh, I'm cruising through life, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And that's all great. But this in a package, like you'd line up and pay double for it. Like once you're in it, you're kind of like, well, I don't want to let it go now.
Yeah.
And
mate, what's been some highlights?
Well, to be honest with you, like to have a look at yourself and look at where you spend your time and where you divide up your priorities in life. Like doing some really simple stuff like journaling every day, like doing posts and not so much comparing yourself to other guys, but like listening to the larger group and really resonating with the struggles that they're going through, and they're not too dissimilar, like out of pretty much everyone that we catch up with on a weekly sort of catch up or a Zoom call. Everyone's going through the same struggles. So it's not like like every single person's like different. We're all pretty much line ball exactly the same. And to see some of the guys that have been in it for a couple of years,
Yeah.
And the differences, like from when they start to where they are now,
Yeah.
it's completely different person, you know. Even talking to some of the guys in the accountability groups, like
Yeah.
some of them will come, like you'll speak to them and have very low vibration,
Yeah.
and then the next week they're pinging off the charts.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
that's actually part of the program. So
Yeah.
it's understanding, you know, like when we first started talking about paradigms, you know, you're kind of
Yeah.
like, what does that even mean? You know,
Yeah.
and then when you do the work and you identify what that means, you're pretty much overhauling your whole thought process
Yeah.
from, you know, start to finish. So,
Yeah.
and look, it's tough. You know, you run through some really low points, you know,
Yeah.
almost hitting brick walls.
Yeah.
And then this program teaches you how to bounce back and how to bounce back twice as quick.
Yeah.
So, and I think the best thing is there's no superiority in this, Gav. Like everyone's on the same level. Do you know what I mean? So it's, you know, we could have superstars in this and no one would really know because everyone's treated equally, and it's amazing. This would be something that I'd stay in for the rest of my life. So
there you go. Well, mate, I am.
yeah,
We're in this
together.
Yep.
100%.
And I suppose, like what you say, you know, that's the way rite of passage is. You know, healthy communities are. You know, it takes a tribe, a village to raise a man. So when we're all together, heading on the same track to head our mission, you know, to find our purpose in life, man, we actually need each other. And I mean, mate, can I ask you? You know, going through those portals in the Kajabi, that, you know, each week we kind of unpack something different. What's been that like? You know, how has that impacted you? What's been a standout there?
Do you know what? Like every week, we do like talk about a new topic, but it all intertwines together at you know, like part of the program. And a lot of people, and me included, I think in the first week, you know, I read every book and I'm a know-it-all. I got it all worked out. It's like I think even you've said it a couple of times. It's like peeling an onion. So you take one layer off, then you take another layer off, and then you really get back to the core, and then you find yourself putting the skin back on, but you're putting it back on differently. So, you know, what we've thought has been our reality. We can change, and we can change really easily and very quickly.
Yeah, and we're seeing the results, like you say, in the first 90 days, mate. Your posture's changed, your tone and your voice has changed. It's great. It's even like with the accountability groups, because we've got men in different time zones. I mean, how good does that work? You know, particularly around being accountable.
So for me, I think you know, the first couple of times it was a bit challenging because I'm in a different time zone. So when we had the Zoom call, for me, it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
but,
it's hard.
You know, like when I first started doing it, I'm like, are you stupid? Like, this is insane. But you know what? Now I go to bed early on a Monday night, and I go, you know what? I can't wait for tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? See, a bit like you know, even funding the program, you kind of go from that. Oh, hey, you know, I'm losing something here to, no, hang on, I can't do without this. I need to be there, you know, I need to contribute. So, and part of that's the accountability groups too, because like a lot of the guys that you might be in those groups with, they expect you to be there. So, you know, they're holding you accountable for being there as well. So,
and I mean, even like, you know, how you've connected with Colin in the States. I mean, you're connecting with blokes all around the world now. We're all in different time zones. It's amazing.
It's brilliant. And you know, like all of us have something in us that is in every single one of these guys. And you don't know until you know, have a discussion on Zoom or You know, you might be in a breakout group or whatever the case may be. So
yeah. So, mate, there's going to be men that are going to see this, and then maybe they've read the book, or maybe they haven't done anything. They're just like, "Whoa, I'm doing okay," but they sense there's something more in them, or maybe they've even spoke to one of the team and thought, "Whoa, man, I don't know if I can do the time. I don't know if I can do the investment. I don't know if I can do the change." What would you say to those men?
Oh, look, it was probably exactly the same as me. You know, like it's one of those programs where, you know, if you put the work in, you'll get the change back out. So, and that's all it's about. You know, it's not a course where, you know, if you pay more, you get better results, or you know, if you know, like I don't know.
You got to do the work.
It's you got to do the work. It's simple, you know. If you're like really good at discipline, it's one of the best things that you'll ever come to sort of like spend time with. And when I first started it, you know, like I think sometimes we just kind of breeze through life and think, well, you know, like, yeah, I'll just give it 10 minutes, you know, it should be right, and all the rest of it. But even when you're having a rough time and stuff, and you say to yourself, well, no, I'm gonna spend an extra 10, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
When you spend that time and you come out of it, whatever thoughts you had before you started it, you walk away in a different frame of mind.
Yeah.
Because you're actually you're coming back to that discipline of, you know, doing that journaling, doing those exercises every day.
Yeah.
And it's exercising the brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's right.
like, I go to a gym and I physically work out.
Yeah.
But that doesn't physically work my brain out, whereas this does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's kind of part of my daily routine. You know, I get up, I do that, then I go and do the workout, or I do it in reverse, whichever way. But every day, and I feel guilty if I miss a day. When I started, I was kind of like, oh, you know, oh, hey, I missed a day. But now I don't miss a day. So I make time in my routine, even like morning and night. When I first started, I would, you know, just 10 minutes. But the more you get into it, the more you can go back to it, if that makes sense. So, you know, like even journaling, in a lot of the accountability groups, like the guys will come back and go, well, never journaled before in my life, and neither have I. I've never journaled in my life. And I'm like, well, and they're all like, oh, you know, that's scary stuff. And I said, yeah, but downloading the Man Alive book and even using the 21-day as your basis to start writing, after a while, you just keep writing and you keep adding stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, I've even gone to the stage of like picking stuff up from our weekly Zoom calls, and you know, started sort of visualizing catchphrases all of a sudden. I'm like, I don't even know where any of this stuff's coming from. So
nah. Well, I tell you what, it's coming from, mate. It's coming from doing the work.
The other day. Yeah, I did one on the Zoom the other day. I think so. In life, we see challenges, and this was another thing. When I started, you know, I had the old reactive mindset, and you know, everything was a challenge. You know, getting out of bed in the morning was a challenge, going to work was a challenge, and this whole program flips that whole mindset on its head. So now a challenge to me is an opportunity. So now my catchphrase is, challenges bring opportunities. Opportunities bring success. And success makes my boat go faster.
There you go.
If you want to know, if you want to know why my boat goes faster, you'll have to wait for the next Zoom meeting.
Great, love it. Well, mate, all right, Matt. So, man, we've all got stuff. We've all got a dad. We've all got, or we've been fathered or unfathered. Tell us, mate.
Everyone's got a story. So like last week I turned 55, and I always sort of like wondered why I've carried this for so long, and doing this course, believe it or not, had brought it out and helped me deal with it. So when I was quite young, I was 16 years old. I worked hard to basically try and get an apprenticeship as a diesel mechanic.
Yeah.
My mum and dad had divorced,
Yeah.
so mum had moved out of the house. My dad had got like a nanny to come in and look after us, and he ended up forming a relationship with the nanny, and we're like, oh, great. Hey, dad's happy.
Yeah.
But my dad had to move away. So here I am, like 16 years old, shit, I'm out in my ear.
Yeah.
And not by, like I sort of did it by decision, like I had worked so hard to get this apprenticeship. So I'd worked hard, saved a lot of money. I had about, I don't know, 7 or 8 grand, and 16, what are you going to do? In WA, you need to buy a car. If you don't have a car, like, yeah,
Yeah.
you better have a good push bike or a good skateboard. So anyway, long story short, started the apprenticeship. My dad come and spoke to me, and he said, "Oh, look, we're moving away. We're going to move up to like a mining town, and we want you to come." So I was faced with this decision, what am I going to do? And I
Yeah.
had to basically call it and say, well, no, I've got to look after me. I've got to get the apprenticeship, got to go and do all that. Yep, not a worry. But my dad asked me to borrow all the money that I had saved so he
Yeah.
could move away. So I lent him that money, and he obviously promised to pay it back.
Yeah.
And then he moved away. And then a couple of months down the track, I said, "Oh, about that money, I need the money. I've got to buy a car." And he said, "What money?" And I just, yeah, my whole life, I guess for that age and all the rest of it, it's like having your gut stripped out of you, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I didn't realise that formed how I trusted people, and
Yeah.
how I went about sort of making decisions in life for such a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I was angry. I probably pushed away so many opportunities because of living to that paradigm and that mindset for such a long time. And here I am, 55 years old, still trying to, come to terms with it and work it out. And
Yeah.
I think, you know, like understanding how paradigms work
Yeah.
and coming to the realization that, oh my God, like I've carried this for close to 30 years.
Yeah.
Um, that hit pretty hard, like I probably went for at least a good 2 weeks,
Yeah.
like I'd just been hit by a truck,
Yeah.
So and then all the emotions and everything that sort of came out of that. And it wasn't until I was in an accountability group and I was talking to another guy who'd been through a similar scenario,
Yeah.
that we both agreed to, sort of hold each other accountable
Yeah.
to forgive, to,
Yeah.
well, first of all, let go.
Yeah.
Second thing, to forgive.
Yeah.
And then third thing, to come back and say, you know what? Forget about all that stuff.
Yeah.
I still love you. You're still part
Yeah.
of who I am. To be able to do that felt like, that 400-kilo bag of cement that I've been carrying around on my shoulders for the last 30 years
Yeah.
has now gone.
Yeah.
And, like a lot of people have said the same thing. They've gone, what's happened to you in the last couple of weeks? Like you seem to be a different person.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Just coming to that realization that, you'd sort of been living to that paradigm. So, you 100% always living in fear.
Yeah.
Not trusting anyone, so not giving anyone the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, probably missing out on so many opportunities,
Yeah.
because you're not listening to anyone's point of view. You're just automatically putting them in a barrel and saying, no, you belong to that group, which is, a very narrow-minded way of thinking. But that's how we sort of that's how a lot of people live. And I was actually so taken back by how many people live in fear. And I've done a few posts about it, and now I completely understand it.
Yeah. And the thing is, mate, and as what we talk about, particularly when we go through the validation initiation process, like really a lot of our masculine journey is really set up when we go through those teenage years, and we've created paradigms, or paradigms being created from circumstances by a lot of men who were just doing their best, but we're all missing the mark on something. So, and I mean, I think it's brilliant how you can see how that's kind of shadows literally every other relationship. The relationship we have or the relationship we don't have with our father, and it could be our birth father, but I think a lot of the times we're actually fathered by other people, good, bad, and indifferent. So, mate, I'm so glad that this penny has dropped, because you have a father's heart, Matt. I can see you actually, even in the mentorship group, you're just looking out for other men straight away. It's in you to be a father. You have a father's heart, it's great that this has been addressed, so that or you're addressing it, so then it doesn't repeat.
But do you know what? All of this came all around the same time, Gav. So 2 years ago, my dad had since split up with that lady, and he formed a relationship with his high school sweetheart, and she actually pushed him to reach out. So I did get to spend probably about 4 weeks with him on and off. So a couple of weeks here and a couple of weeks there, and I got to have that like hard conversation with him. And then something had happened with his health, and I'd come to realise that again he'd pushed everyone out of his life again, because he wanted to deal with that. He wanted to deal with that pain, if you like. And
that just dropped out. It's back in now.
Okay.
It dropped out. Sorry, mate. Can you?
No, you're right.
Can you say that again?
So, in a nutshell, what had happened? She pushed him to get me to come and connect. So I went and connected, and we got off our chest what we had to get off. It was still a little bit fractured, and then he went to a doctor, and I think he was diagnosed with emphysema, but stage 4 or something. So it was quite bad. And he has this thing where he'll push everyone away. So he did it again. He pushed everyone out of his life. And at the time, he asked me to be the executor of his will, and I said, yeah, look, I don't have a problem in doing that. But because he'd gone through that pain and anger of wanting to push everyone away, he pushed me away again, and I was probably more taken back by the fact that he'd done it not once but twice. How many hits am I going to get from this bloke? So he reached out to my sister, and I just accepted it. I just said, okay, well, fair call. But I think about the end of January this year, so I'd been in the course for a month. We come to find out that he actually died in September last year. So that was I was just starting to research paradigms, and all of that came all at the same time, and I'm like, wow, this is hitting a brick wall. Wow, this is like really hitting a brick wall. But I was supposed to let go, to forgive, and then to tell him I love him again, even though he has passed.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think I'd ever be able to do it. I honestly didn't. And I think, like for me now, it's just about, trying to rebuild the family as well, like
Yeah.
rebuild that relationship with my brother,
Yeah.
and just move on. I mean, life it's precious and it's really short. So, all those things that you talk about, like in, the Men Rise at Dawn program,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
even the basics in the Man Alive. And a lot of people have spoke about it too, like how do you want to be remembered, when you pass on, and that stuff comes to life.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
that's it. That's exactly it, mate. It is coming to life. Our life
yeah,
is being played out, but a lot of blokes, a lot of men don't choose. They just go with the flow and end up with something they don't want.
yeah, yeah. And look, we're all human beings. I mean, we're all guilty of, burying our head in the sand and, hoping it'll, all the bad stuff go away, but it doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. So, mate, there's going to be men that are going to watch this and say, you know what, I've got some unresolved issues with my father, or
Yep.
even with their brother, or even with another man. Like maybe somebody who mentored them or whatever. I mean, what would
Yep.
you say to those men?
Um, well, first of all, like the hardest thing is letting go of what you've been holding on to, you know,
Mm.
because holding on to what you've been holding on to dictates the way, you've lived by that paradigm for such a long time. And, is it right? Nah, we all know it's not right.
Yeah, yeah,
So, um, and and letting go is a pretty hard thing to do if you've been carrying it for, the better part of your life.
yeah,
So that's just in itself, just that one act, and because this program's so good, it allows you to grow, and it allows you to design, the ultimate paradigm, if you like.
yeah, yeah,
And I think that whole thing of letting go and forgiving, and if you get to that point of, portraying love over, hatred or
yeah.
disappointment or whatever the case may be, it it gives you balance,
Mm.
puts your balance back into
Yeah,
the way it was.
yeah. And I mean, mate, because what you've done, you've connected now with men all around the world. Like,
Yeah,
we've got blokes in the US, like, reaching out to you.
yeah, yeah,
What's that
yeah.
like?
Oh, look, it's pretty cool, like it's the weirdest thing, like connecting with like Colin he's in the northern hemisphere, I'm in the
Yeah.
southern hemisphere. I've never met the guy from a bar of soap.
Well, you've been
But
on Zoom every.
the craziest thing is we have so much in common.
Yeah,
Same challenges,
yeah,
almost exactly the same in personal relationships, in professional relationships, in business, in
yeah.
struggles, in you name it. And that's
You found your twin on the other side of
it's
the world.
insane. And I'm like, how does it work? It's crazy.
Well, I
But I
tell you
think
how
when
it
you
works.
I think when you're vibrating at a different level too,
Yeah,
you connect, you do connect with people at a different frequency.
yeah.
Um, and all of a sudden opportunities start presenting themselves. So
Yeah, no, mate, awesome, mate. I want to say thank you, mate, for just being so real. Just
yeah,
being Matt, being yourself, mate. this is going to help a lot of people, mate. So, hey, listen, you've been encouraged by Matt's story. Hey, leave us a comment, give this bloke some encouragement. Or if you've got any questions, I'm sure Matt, myself, one of the team will be great to answer them. We'll do our best anyway. But mate, have a great day. Over and out. Oh, you got something else. Tell us something else. What were we going to say then?
Oh, look, I think again, like even in this, if I could summarize it, I came into this carrying, all that stuff, all that baggage and, all that, untrust and, I could write a book just on that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't real.
Yeah.
So I came into the course thinking, it's all good. I'll put that, brave face on and I'll be able to wing it, and all the rest of it. Getting it out and understanding it. And now that inner voice that I had the conversation with, I think that was the defining moment for me. There is a passage in the 21-day course where it actually asks you a question to bring out that inner voice. Yeah. And it was at that moment that I went, oh my God. So, you're always having that conversation with yourself. Yeah. And when you're in that paradigm, believe it or not, when you live in fear, a lot of those inner voice conversations that you have with yourself, you're very, very hard on yourself and you're having this argument every day about, how bad you are and, you've done this wrong and you've done that wrong. And once you actually understand it, all of that stuff's gone. You don't have those conversations with yourself anymore. You go from hating yourself to loving yourself. And that's all it's about, and that's that whole balance thing that puts the balance back in your life.
Mate, so good. All right, come on. Leave this bloke a comment. This is awesome. Thank you, mate. You're amazing. You're doing great. Jeez.
Thanks, Gav.